Senator Lindsey Graham is a member of the Armed Services Committee. He joins us now. Senator, good of you to be here this morning. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So this deal increases spending by quite a lot. And we're hearing a lot about that from some of your Republican colleagues, $300 billion. Is this a good deal?
Well, it depends on what you think the federal government should be doing. If you think the federal government should be defending America from enemies that are growing in terms of their lethality, yes. This is the best news for the military since 2011. Thank you, President Trump, for keeping your campaign promise to rebuild the military. Thank you, Senator Schumer and McConnell, for finding a way forward. Let me tell you what General Mattis said about 2 weeks ago. Let me be clear, as hard as the last 16 years of war have been on our military, no enemy in the field has done as much to harm the readiness of the U.S. military than the combined impact of the Budget Control Act defense spending caps, worsened by operating for 10 of the last 11 years under continuing resolutions of unpredictable duration. This fixes that. What the general said is that no enemy we're facing has done more damage to the military than the Congress. So to all my friends in Congress who believe this is not a good deal, you should be listening to General Mattis.
Well, what do you say to Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, who's already come out in advance of it, as a matter of fact, and said we will not support this? He described it as a monstrosity. He said he never thought Congress, let alone Paul Ryan, would come forward with something like this. And he compared it to Obama's stimulus boondoggle. Well,
go tell people in the military who are the maintenance backlog is a mile long. 68% of the F-18s in the Navy can't fly because we don't have the spare parts. Tell that to the men and women who have done multiple tours because we don't have enough soldiers in the Army. I like Jim Jordan. He's a great guy. The monstrosity has been sequestration that has cut over $1 trillion out of the Defense Department. Freedom is not free, Jim. The Freedom Caucus is a good group of conservatives, but freedom is not delivered by anybody on Capitol Hill. It's delivered by the men and women who have been at war for the last 17 years, who are all over the world, who need more help, not less, from Congress. So I'm going to vote yes, and I'm going to go on the floor and talk about what it means to vote no. It means that you're putting the military behind the 8 ball again. It means that they have less resources to do their job with. It means their families suffer longer.
Well, it has nothing for dreamers in it, and we certainly heard a lot about that from Nancy Pelosi yesterday. More than 8 hours she spoke on the House floor. She was reading off letters from DACA recipients. She said she will not support this. How do you plan to get this through?
Well, we're going to get it through because most people will support it. Most people are going to listen to General Mattis. To my fiscal conservative friends, you know as well as I do, defense spending doesn't drive the debt. What makes us grease is the mandatory spending, Medicare, Social Security, interest on the debt itself. So if you want to get out of debt, you got to go where the money's at, reform entitlements. To Nancy Pelosi, I will put my credentials up against anyone, including you, when it comes to immigration reform. But you need to understand that our military is in a state of disrepair, that we've suffered since 2011, and we're at war, and we need to take better care of the warfighter. The dreamers are important, but nobody is more important to me than the men and women who are fighting this war.
And you have shared your concern and passion for those dreamers, and you just a couple days ago said you're growing increasingly pessimistic about a deal on immigration.
Well, you know, it's hard to get there. You know, Obama failed, Bush failed. I hope Trump can get us there. The $25 billion for the wall makes sense to me. A 1.8 million pathway to citizenship is very generous. I hope we can get there. But more than anything else, I hope we can rebuild the military, listen to our generals, and give the warfighter what they need to carry on the war we can't afford to lose. So the dreamers are important. We'll take care of them, I hope. Fiscal conservatives, you know where the money's at. It's in mandatory spending. There's no good reason to vote no if you really care about the military.
All right. And you have penned this letter with Chuck Grassley, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, on which you sit. What have you discovered about this Steele dossier?
Well, it was a piece of political garbage. It has still not been verified to this day. Almost all of it is unverified. It was compiled by a foreign agent who was receiving money from the Democratic Party, who went to Russia to get the information. Russia's meddled in our elections. There were flowing a bunch of garbage to Steele. The Department of Justice and the FBI swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. Steele hated Trump. The dossier was political, in my view, garbage. It was used to get a warrant. That was wrong. Somebody has to watch those who watch us.
You wrote in this that you concluded that they relied heavily on Mr. Steele's dossier claims. Did they rely solely on it?
I don't know if they relied solely on it. I do know that the Russian investigation by Mr. Mueller is really unconnected to all this. What I worry about is that the FBI is a great organization, but you got at least 2 agents who went rogue when it came to the Clinton email investigation. The fact that you would use a politically motivated document to present to the FISA court should concern every American. The number 4 guy at the Department of Justice, Mr. Orr's wife, worked for the same company, Fusion GPS, that employed Mr. Steele. There's a lot of stop signs run, and there's more coming, by the way. Just stay tuned, there's more coming.
As far as this memo that Democrats have crafted, the president's got a pretty big decision to make. What do you think he should do?
I think he should release it, as long as it doesn't compromise sources and methods. I don't like the dueling memos approach. The Inspector General will tell us what happened inside the FBI. Mr. Mueller will tell us about all things Russia. But now that it's out there, it's out there. The Republicans put out their version, let the Democrats speak on this issue. But what Senator Grassley and I are trying to do is hold people at the Department of Justice and FBI accountable for a process that I think really got off the rails.
Real quickly before you go, this FBI informant who's broken his silence apparently sat down for several hours with the Senate Judiciary House Intelligence Committee. Were you there, Senator?
No, I wasn't, but I'll get briefed about it. The one thing I want your audience to know is that Mr. Mueller is doing his job, and I intend to let him do it. But having said that, the FBI's conduct, the Department of Justice conduct, particularly with the dossier, to me is chilling. Somebody has to watch those who watch us, and Mr. Steele's dossier, again, I think was very unreliable. It was used by the Department of Justice, the FBI, in an inappropriate manner. He had a political bias. He was being paid by the Democratic Party to compile the document. Other than that, this is on the up and up.
A lot going on. Senator Lindsey Graham, thanks for coming on and talking about all of it with us. Good to have you.
Thank you.